Hello everyone, I'm glad to have you here today. This is going to be a full face video, so I better get my hair clipped out of my face. I'm really excited about this. This came from all your feedback on Instagram. I asked the question, what product are you most likely to recommend to friends and family? And I just got on this thought because, you know, it's the holiday season. And you know, sometimes when families and friends get together, you start chatting about what's in your makeup bag, or have you tried this, or did you know about that? And you know, those conversations just kind of come up. And so that got in my head and I thought, what are you most likely to recommend? And the responses, I mean, I'm overwhelmed by the amount of responses I will get to a question like this, but I was really surprised that they were so split between drugstore and high-end, just lots of both. And I thought, well, maybe to represent this question best, I will do a look with the drugstore recommendations, and then I'll do a separate video about the high-end stuff too. I think that would be cool. So today it's going to be drugstore, and I've got my things compiled here. There are some things I had to go out and buy, things that I just was not so familiar with, and then there are some things that I did have within my collection here. And I really did try to pay attention to things that were mentioned over and over if possible. But yeah, this is going to be super fun. So let's get started. First thing is a primer, and I saw a comment that said e.l.f. Hydro Grip Primer. I've tried all the gripping ones, and this one lasted through a wedding. So I believe she's talking about the Power Grip Primer here from e.l.f. So we're going to use this today. I haven't used a ton of mine. Like, I did have this in my collection. I was kind of rubbed the wrong way a little bit by the e.l.f. Mint Melt because I just felt like it was incredibly sticky, and this is really sticky too. I guess you just kind of got to be up for that a little bit when you're putting on these primers. My thing is that the hard candy one claims to be a gripping primer, you know, and it just has more of a glide across the skin. Like, does anybody else not love the feel of this? The other is like spreading softened butter, and this one's like spreading cream cheese. It doesn't like to move across the skin quite as well, but I think I have it evenly applied, okay? And the thing is if you can just get past the application, if it helps the staying power as much as she says, it's probably worth it. So we'll see how that goes throughout the day, but that's the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. And I have heard just throughout social media that's a really popular one, so I'm not shocked by that answer. For foundation, we're gonna go with something that is not so familiar to me. It's the CoverGirl 3-in-1 Outlast Stay Fabulous Foundation. Olivia says, I have used it for years. And when I went into the store, I wasn't seeing the 3-in-1 part, but this does say Outlast Extreme Wear, and I got it in natural beige. It says transfer resistant, SPF 18. It's described as a lightweight, natural, full coverage foundation, non-caking, non-drying, sweat proof, humidity proof, evens out skin tone for poreless looking skin, feels comfortable and breathable on skin. So they've really tried to cover all their bases here. We have a pump. I remember a foundation from CoverGirl, and it worked really well. It was like a matte foundation, and it had, I want to say, blue packaging on it. It had a pump and a blue lid or something like that. And I remember that Stay Fabulous label. And this one, again, it says Outlast Extreme Wear Light Airbrush Finish. So we're gonna get some of this on. Got about maybe a little over a pump there because the first pump didn't come out very well. I think the shade will be good. Got a lovely little zip friend right down there. And then I'm using my e.l.f. Total Face Sponge because I did just happen to come across this in another comment. We're just going to dab this into the skin, and so far, oh wow, that's some coverage. I may have used this very foundation in the past, but it's been a while. Got a lot on my lips there. Really get that into the hairline. I mean, this is impressive looking coverage. The consistency of it, it kind of like immediately made me think about Estee Lauder Double Wear when I pumped it out. And it's honestly kind of giving me that vibe as I blend it in. Just the consistency, the coverage. Wow. I mean, like, look. Did you know this was lurking in the drugstore? This might be more coverage than my Maybelline Superstay. And when you really start looking at CoverGirl's foundations, they have so many versions. They had some pump style foundations, and there was a hydrating one. I never knew they came out with a hydrating one. They have the, I think it's called Matte Made or something like that. I remember using that when it first came out. But yeah, this is supposed to be extreme wear and a light airbrush finish, and I gotta say, it looks so pretty. Really nice coverage. What a recommendation. I might just be telling my friends about this too. For concealer, what was said here? NYX Bear With Me concealer. Okay, so we got this. I've had this on hand. This is really good. It feels to me like a really advanced drugstore formula of concealer. I wear it in the shade Light, I believe. They call it a concealer serum. I feel like it manages to be very full coverage, but so light and really spreads a little bit, goes across a major surface area on the skin. You know, like these dots I'm doing are going to be so more than enough. But I would say surprisingly potent coverage for as lightweight as it feels. So I think this is a really strong recommendation actually. But it is one of those concealers, I think you pay a little bit more for this than you would for, say, e.l.f. Camo Concealer. I love the Camo Concealer myself. That would be a big recommendation for me. But look at this. It does look super pretty, and we've got that really nice coverage foundation on already. So we don't need maybe the craziest, heaviest coverage out of our concealer, right? But this is giving us some nice brightness. Is it the fullest coverage concealer? I would say not as full as my e.l.f. Camo concealers, but it's quite good considering the thinness. We're getting that pressed in everywhere. I really want to get it around the nose. Make sure everything's truly blended. I'm loving that foundation and concealer combo. That's great. Next up for powder, so many people said Maybelline Fit Me Loose powder. I mean, it was over and over again. This was a no-brainer to include this, and I wear it in the shade Fair. And I would say this is just a very comparable powder to the Laura Mercier. It works really well. It gets the job done, sets the face. If you're into using like little powder puffs like I am, this one came out of a pack from Amazon. This will work really well with those, and so I'm just going to press into my skin. Whenever I'm using a puff with powders, I just think it's giving me dull skin. It really evens out and perfects. You don't always have to be putting on a lot of powder, but if you get on a little too much, you can just dust it away afterwards. If you see excess on your skin, I go in with a brush pretty much no matter what, and I take care of that. The chin was it, and I pretty much right away go in with this Morphe Under Eye Bullet brush, and that just takes care of that. Booyah. We are full coverage today, my friends. Look at that. For bronzer, someone said Milani Silky Matte Bronzer, and I could have sworn I had it, but actually I must have decluttered it because I certainly don't have it anymore. Now I have to pick something else, so I'm going to go with my recommendation on bronzer. I'm going to say Rimmel Natural Bronzer. If you're just looking for a good basic matte bronzer, this is the one in Sun Bronze. It's a little bit deeper than one called Sun Dance that I know I've also used, but just a really good basic bronzer and one of the cheapest that you're going to find in the drugstore too. Like if you're really building a collection and you got more than one makeup product to buy and there's something that you don't have to spend like nearly $10 on at the drugstore, save on the bronzer. You know, I would also say the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. I did see some answers for that as well if you're not into loose powder and you'd rather have pressed. These things come in at such an affordable price. We're going to give ourselves some contour. Really easy. Kind of reminds me of working with Hoola from Benefit. I really should assess whether this is a dupe or not because it's majorly making me think Hoola. So this year we are getting Christmas lights professionally put on our house. The service just seems too good to be true. You know, they're going to put them on. They're going to be available to do any kind of maintenance on them throughout the season. And then at the end of the season, they're going to take them off and store them for you. And the people who do it are just like super nice, great guys. And I think the house is going to look absolutely gorgeous when it's all said and done. And they're coming to put them on today. I'm shooting this on Thursday. So I got that bronzer on all over. Well, I really kind of focused in on the hollow of the cheek area and the hairline. And then for blush, actually the person who answered for blush gave two recommendations that I'm using. Elizabeth said the e.l.f. Blush Highlight Duos. Love those. And then she also said L'Oreal Brow Stylist Definer. And she went on to give a Smashbox recommendation as well. But yeah, that definer, I thought I'll try that because I'm really in tune right now with the skinny brow pencils. I've been bouncing between the e.l.f. one and the CoverGirl one. Sometimes even my actual ABH Brow Wiz. Let's throw in the L'Oreal right now and see how that's going. So I will be using that. Meanwhile, I pulled out this e.l.f. duo. I love these duos. I love the e.l.f. face duos even better than the eye duos. I I think they're even more spectacular. And this one called Pomegranate, absolutely stunning rosy blush here. So just get a little on your brush, tap off the excess, and behold, in from the cold, beautiful rosy cheeks. See that? So pretty, so pretty. I want to get it even a little bit higher. Look at that perfect flush. I mean, you're telling me that this is such a perfect winter blush. Or, you know, the spiced apple one is so pretty if you like more of a neutral. Watermelon is the can't miss kind of dusty rose shade with the most stunning highlight. This has a really pretty highlight too, but I'm actually going to use another recommendation for highlight today. But I mean, gosh. We're just matte, matte, matte right now though. The finish of this blush is matte. Our bronzer was matte. It's still looking good, you know? Who says you can't be all matte? Another one where I was kind of surprised. This had many recommendations. Essence Pure Nude Highlighter. It's cheap, flattering, and subtle in the world of highlighters. Yes, so I've had this for a while, my Pure Nude Highlighter in the shade Be My Highlight. And I think they've since come out with a number of versions of this. They've even put out like a highlighter palette that has different tones in it. So this is super pretty. And this is going to lay down on top of our matte skin, and you're gonna really be able to see the level of glow it gives. I mean, talk about blurring. I can't believe on top of this matte skin, it looks so blurring. I may not have put this on skin that has been this matte before, but dang, that is so pretty. Like the luminosity, the gentle light catching, but not too much. We're gonna take it up here too. I like to kind of just go up, blend up above the brow to the hairline. It's really pretty, gang. I love that. It's just so fun how these particular products, like nobody said all of these things, but all of these various recommendations are coming together to look really good. I did not grab a screenshot of anything for a setting spray, so I'm gonna throw something in for that. I really like these little Wet n Wild Photo Focus setting sprays. This is just the natural finish one. It has a beautiful fan of spray when it comes out. Love. Only takes a couple of miss. Look at that. So now for the brow. I've used this in the past. It's the Brow Stylist Definer from L'Oreal. It always comes to my mind when I'm thinking of lower cost options for brow wiz. You've got the spoolie on the one end, your very defined tip on the other, and this I got in the shade Dark Brunette. And I will say this particular type of brow product was very picked over in the store. So if that tells you anything, people might be after this. So I'm just getting my brows filled in. This Dark Brunette shade, I don't always go for the darkest. There was a whole color that I thought might have been my perfect shade. It was out, like a whole one in between light brunette and dark brunette. Maybe it was just brunette that I might have gotten, but I'll just try not to be too heavy-handed with this. But I mean, it's going on just like CoverGirl, the e.l.f. I'm trying to think which brands is the lowest cost. I would think probably e.l.f.'s. There were some recommendations also for the e.l.f. Instant Lift, which is another great one. It's a little thicker, but it's nice using a brand new brow pencil. Really getting those hair-like strokes. So fresh. I wouldn't be able to know any difference if someone taped over the labels. This could easily be NYX, it could be CoverGirl, it could be ABH. So I would say that's good news. Like if you are in the drugstore and you can't find your certain shade in this one, you know, look to CoverGirl, look to e.l.f., look to NYX. They're all doing them. I believe Maybelline has one too. Pretty much every brand has put out a defining brow pencil like this. So works great for me. Nobody really said it, but I'm going to throw on some NYX Control Freak on this as well, just to give a little hold. That's one thing you're not going to get from like a skinny pencil like that, or from most pencils, period. You kind of got to supply the hold yourself. There are some pomades though that give it to you, like the pomade from Maybelline. That really does hold. Guys, you made me proud on this next one. You made me real proud. Milani Eyeshadow Primer. Thank you, Emily. I tried it and it works. A lot of great testimonials for the Milani Eyeshadow Primer, so I'm glad it's working for you. It definitely is the kind of thing I would be recommending to a friend also, because I think sometimes an eyeshadow primer could be an overlooked thing, especially by someone who's just starting out with makeup. They don't maybe see the need for it, but it elevates every eyeshadow you put on top. I really like getting that on getting it dabbed throughout the crease, up to the brow, but don't use a lot. Like I've kind of thinned a very small dab between 2 fingers and now I'm putting it on. If you over apply an eye primer, you start to have, unfortunately, the reverse effect of what you want, which is creasing and not so good wear time. Maybe some patchy application because you don't have it on evenly and nicely all over the space. So go with the minimal amount. It's not going to be the most neutralizing primer, meaning it doesn't have a ton of coverage in it. There are some that do. Profusion has one that has a ton of coverage. So if that's what you're looking for, maybe you want a different primer. But just for everyday use of eyeshadow, this is so good. I've gone through many of these and you'll get down to this level with it and you'll just keep squeezing it out. It lasts a long time. One of the categories, along with bronzer, there weren't a ton of bronzer recommendations and there weren't a lot of eyeshadow recommendations, especially drugstore, but I did see this ColourPop Going Coconuts palette. I have hundreds of palettes, many luxury. ColourPop Going Coconuts, best. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I've had this on hand. I've used it before. I do think it's a good palette. And there were some people, to be fair, there were a few other mentions of more general, like ColourPop eyeshadows, ColourPop palettes, but they weren't giving any specifics. This one gave this very specific recommendation, and I do know this is one of the favorite ColourPop palettes, generally speaking, isn't it? People tend to love this. So I'm going to use this today. I mean, it's just screaming everyday neutral, which I love. I'm going to go up here to Culotta, up in the corner. It's like a matte. We do have a nice kind of matte shimmer balance. These are all mattes. This is matte. This has a little shimmer, and then our very clear shimmers are right here. Great mirror in here as well. So if you were taking all this makeup to travel with, you really feel like you can see your entire face in this mirror. And not every little ColourPop palette that they make does the mirror thing. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm just building up this shade in my crease. And I have loved a lot of different ColourPop palettes, and there are some where, like, I wish they held on to them more in their line. There are some where it's a good limited edition thing, and then it's in and out, it's gone. And sometimes it's hard to place a big recommendation on certain things because then people can't find them again. But one of my favorite things from ColourPop eyeshadow-wise would have to be that big matte palette. I've talked about it a lot. I've used it several times on my channel. It's called Gone Matte, and it is the perfect matte neutral wardrobe. Everything you need in beautiful gradients of different tones. So it's very easy to sort out. Like, whoever designed it and decided to lay things out in that way, they made it very user-friendly. Okay, so we're getting that shade called Culotta all throughout the crease. I think I'm going to take a little bit of Shredded right here, which has just a little shimmer in it, and I'm going to use that up above, kind of as a little smoother shade slash highlight. It's not too terribly light. Okay, let's deepen it up a little bit. I want to use Shell Yeah. This is really nice that they have this shade here because it's a little mauvey, a little dusty rose, and it just veers you off of the brown path for a second. And it's just a really good depth level, a little darker than what I first put in. That all worked in. Absolutely digging it. It looks so natural, actually. It does make sense that this would be highly recommended. This is a very classic palette where it doesn't really matter what occasion the person is using it for. This could be something really important like a wedding. This could be everyday work look. This could be just like your most casual little weekend vibe. Works for anything. Personally, what came to mind for me, I feel like I would be doing a lot of recommending of the Wet n Wild palettes and also just like the little Walking on Eggshells palette. That's so basic. This kind of has some of those Walking on Eggshells shades, does it not? So I've gotten these two shades blended in. I did this as my highlight. I think I'm ready for a little depth. We've got a beautiful dark brown down here called Nutty, and it's matte. Okay, so pick some of that up with your flat brush. What? What, honey? Oh, I thought you were crying. This shade is patting on so nicely, and we do have a special guest producer who just came in. Biddy is over at the table. She's doing a little coloring, being super well behaved and down to business. Tonight at Biddy and Nookie's school, there is family reading night, so we'll be going to that, won't we, Biddy? Mm-hmm. Are you excited? Yeah. Are we going to see your teacher there? Mm-hmm. Hope so. All right. There's that nice cool brown. Biddy, my palette is called Going Coconuts.
Going Coconuts. I love coconuts.
I know. She says she loves coconuts. All right. I don't know why she's up at 5:38, but she is. I'm such a creature of habit on just the order of application, the way I like to put things on, but it works for me. What do we want to put like center of the lid? This shade is really calling to me right here. This one called Cocoa Crunch, or oh, it's Cocoa Crush. Cocoa Crunch, that sounds like a great cereal. Oh man, Shimmer McGee. Look at this. Rose gold. So pretty. Swiping motion. Stunning. Just gonna like press a little bit over it because I just got a lot on my brush there. That is profound. It's not even the lightest shimmer we have here. ColourPop palettes are honestly a great value. Really good quality.
Mommy, can I use the markers?
Yeah, you can use the markers if you want to, hon. Okay, and then we could do Palm Reader. Don't you love that? Palm Reader right here. It's a white. Oh man, we're going there. Around the inner corner. Why not? Light and bright. Wowza. Then I'm thinking maybe do I want to make a little bit more of the outer corner? Do I want to bring in another shade? This one down here called Get Crackin', it actually has a little bit of shimmer. Ooh, it's very soft too. So I'm just going to go with that, like just to add to my outer corner crease area. Yeah, that's nice. That's a real easy shade to work with. Super good. Or as Biddy would say, super good.
Super good.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm just so impressed by these colors, the pigment, the ease of blending. I think Beth, who recommended this, that was a great pick, Beth. Thank you so much for bringing that back into the conversation, bringing it back to my attention. And next we're going to use a black liquid liner that I really have not given much of a chance. It is the Wet n Wild liquid liner. I picked this up the other day. It's the H2O proof is the one I chose, and it's in black. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that I haven't given this much of a shot. Oh, the applicator is not a brush. It's a firm, like little, I don't know, what would you call that? Definitely not a doe foot. It's a little bit pointed. It's like a doe, it's a doe toe. We're calling this the doe toe. It's like not very flexible at all. I don't know, guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to cope with this after so many easy liners. Okay, it's going across. It's nice and black. It's going across some heavy shimmer. Okay. It's just, I'm a little bit thrown by the fact that there is no flexibility in this. Like, it's very old school in that way. I feel like some older liners I might have used in the past were like this as well. Like, just a little tip. It has no bend. But we're winging it anyway, and it did the job, and it's super black, and it was also super cheap. So if this lasts me all day, if this lasts through family reading night, I'm going to have to say it works. We'll see. I wouldn't throw this in the hands of a complete beginner. It's just a little hard. You're working right off the tip.
I didn't know it could do that.
Biddy, are you an early bird? She's talking to her markers, actually.
Why do you have such a bright pink in the middle and dark lines? You are the best.
Okay, I'm trying to do a neat wing here. I'm trying to do a great wing, not just a good wing. It is a little hard with this. Maybe this stuff wears like iron and we're gonna love it, but kinda tricky to apply. Then, since I did that wing, I am thinking about going back in with Nutty and just an angled brush and kind of incorporating that wing down into the lower lash line a bit. So we're just coming right under the wing with this angled brush. So nice. I want some softness down there too. I'm going to go to Lovely Bunch right here. Don't think I used that shade yet. And just give it a little more softness down in there. Kitten's here, checking on you, Biddy. Aww. I'm so intrigued by the mascara recommendation, guys, because of the amount of times this came up, okay? So frequently mentioned. I was shocked because it's not new. Maybelline Full and Soft but this one said particularly waterproof mascara. It holds a curl, and her fave is the Full and Soft. So this was mentioned a lot. I have used Full and Soft before. I'm not sure I've ever used waterproof. And I know waterproof can be a game changer for curl, but at the same time, you don't want it to be a pain to take off. But, you know, I've got some pretty good removers in my life. I've got Lancome eye makeup remover, so I'm down to try this. And, you know, we got stuff going on this evening. Got this family reading night thing. I need some good staying power. I feel like this look is going to wear like iron today. I'm feeling like I trust that CoverGirl foundation. All right, let's see. Full and Soft. Yeah, just as I remembered it. This kind of thick brush, very traditional looking brush. I was watching a girl on TikTok use the Too Faced Better Than Sex waterproof version, and it just, like, I was really surprised at how huge it made her lashes look. Okay, one coat, we're just looking soft and fluffy. I know how this goes. We have to build, don't we? The lip color, y'all, was another thing mentioned over and over again. The most repeated mentions were the Full and Soft, the Essence Pure Nude Highlighter, the lip thing coming up, the Milani Eyeshadow Primer, the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Powder. Yeah, those were probably the ones that had like the most frequent answers as far as drugstore. And then high-end's gonna be a whole other story. Okay, with coat 2, I'm really seeing it bring some more lashes to life. Gosh, if I didn't have that liner, you could probably see it more. Oh, here, look. Maybe we can spin the camera around. Look, she's got a kitten there, and she's cuddling her bunny with the kitty. That's what's up. I think I might have gotten a little bit on my eyelid. This is coat like 2.5, maybe.
Coconut vibes.
Oh, coconut vibes? Yeah. Oh, awesome. Something I love about Biddy is you never know what she's gonna say. Coat 3 is where I'm starting to get really impressed. Oh, it's building nicely, and I can really tell it is holding that curl. I had a tiny little mistake there. Okay.
Can be outlining dark color, and it can be light.
Yes.
Color than light color.
It's rare that you find a marker that can color in light as well as a deeper outline. You're doing really amazing on this.
Thanks.
It says being a big sister is fun. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Bless.
Thanks.
Did you suck up some eyeshadow when you came over here? Eyeshadow dust?
Yeah, now I smell like eyeshadow.
Now you smell like eyeshadow. It happens. I feel like I got a bunch of my eyeliner on my lashes on this side when I was struggling. I'm having a little resistance going through, but we're gonna power through and try to still get the lashes really well coated. As I said the day I built the sandbox, you can do hard things. Okay, like 2 coats. Building length, still really defined. See it through to 3 coats, that's my advice. I mean, the length here is honestly astounding. Really good. I've made a few mistakes, but I am gonna go out on a limb and put this on my lower lash line because being waterproof, I think I'm gonna have a pretty good shot. Now, I mentioned stuff that was recommended repeatedly, and one of those things was the Super Stay Vinyl from Maybelline. So this was huge over and over again. I have the one called Lippy, and it's a really pretty, like kind of dark, dusty rose shade, looking like that. And these are nice products. They wear really well and really evenly, but you don't have like that matte, uncomfortable dry down with them. When I was back in the store yesterday picking up a few of these things I didn't have, I thought maybe I'll try a new color for this video. And guys, I'm gonna have to eat my words about Walmart and people breaking into products, because almost every shade I went for, like everything available, you could see that this little seal had been undone. Like, so Walmart decided for me which one I would go home with, because it was like the one that hadn't been compromised. It's a shade called Koi. So first off, they were very picked over to begin with, but then what was there was just, I was so disappointed in that. So we're gonna use Koi. I think this is gonna work well. It's looking a lot like a shade that I really like in the Super Stay Matte Ink. I think the one called Lover, one of the first matte inks I ever got into. Gonna have to stop talking to him. Really pretty cool, kind of like pinky berry here. Love the precision this particular applicator gives. That's nice. So you have this moisture and then you get like a semi-set with it, but you still look like you're kind of wearing a cream lipstick product. But already, as I put my lips together, I can tell it's starting to dry a little.
Can I put on my lip gloss?
Yes.
Here's my lip gloss. It's a cute panda.
Very nice. It's actually a very nice formula, isn't it, Biddy?
And I have the inside. And this. Just have to get some lip gloss to put on me.
How's it going?
And then we put it on like this from the stick.
From the stick, yep.
Yeah, and done. And here's what it looks like. And if you didn't see it before, then I'll come up and show it to you after I
Twist it in like that, yep.
Alrighty, and this is the cute panda lip gloss.
So there's Biddy's finished look, and here's my finished look with the products. These are all products on my face, Biddy, that my viewers recommended using. What do you think about the look?
It looks pretty nice.
What's your favorite part of this makeup look?
I like the eyeshadow.
Ooh, you do? From the Going Coconuts palette?
Mm-hmm.
I like this lip color too a lot, actually. That's the shade Koi. All right, Biddy, sign off. Say bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
See what I mean with that lip color? It still has a shiny type finish, but a minimal amount pulls off if you would happen to like get it on a cup. Let's actually do, I've got a white cup here. We'll do a little cup test. You know, just a teensy trace of product is coming off on the cup. Now, I could have maybe piled on a little bit more. I'd go kind of minimal amount with this, but I'm really happy with this look. If I picked a top 3 from this, I feel like this CoverGirl Outlast, this foundation looks gorgeous on the skin. I love it. It paired really well with the concealer too. The concealer is no slouch, but like this was just kind of a surprise for me. This Full and Soft Waterproof truly did a great job. And I was really happy to bring back the Going Coconuts palette. I love that. I had some familiarity with these, so I knew they were really good. Of course, Maybelline Loose Powder and all. That's all great. But you guys gave some outstanding picks here. So I think your friends and family are in good hands if this is the stuff you're recommending to them. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and definitely stay tuned. In a future video, I'll be covering some of the high-end picks. So thanks for your time, everyone. I love you. Bye.